New drama tonight involving a controversial politician in the south suburbs. Tiffany Henyard was the only Thornton Township leader to show up for a scheduled meeting.
7 minutes. That's all it took for Tiffany Henyard to be out as the Democratic nominee for Thornton Township supervisor. And she left here visibly upset.
Oh, hold on, people, because we are about to embark on one of the most insane political roller coasters you have ever witnessed. Picture a small town in turmoil where the mayor, who proudly calls herself the super mayor, is at the center of legal disputes, public scandals, and mounting indignation from both officials and citizens. Let's break down the situation in Thornton, Illinois, where Tiffany Henyard is producing drama that could easily compete with the newest binge-worthy series. However, is she a misunderstood leader who is standing up to opposition, or has her ambition finally gotten out of control?
People were getting let in at the proper time. We had a caucus. And the people voted for us, slated candidates to represent them.
Imagine a mayor who also serves as the supervisor of Thornton Township, another influential role in addition to being the head of her municipality. Yes, you heard correctly. One person in two leadership roles. But here's the worst part. Henyard recently lost her bid to be re-elected as the township supervisor, and the fallout has been devastating. Blasting State Senator Napoleon Harris, who is also the Democratic candidate for Thornton Township, made the extraordinary decision to go from a typical primary election to a caucus. Needless to say, Henyard was not amused by the news.
Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, who was appointed to that position tonight, lost her bid for the Democratic Party's nomination in this rarely used.
Henyard's name didn't even appear on the ballot at the caucus since her slate of candidates lacked a certified assessor, which is a prerequisite for eligibility. Harris intervened with his own slate to win the nomination, which some have referred to as a calculated political takedown, but he has called it something else. Completely unlawful, nothing about this was handled correctly by you. According to reports, she yelled at Harris following the unlawful caucus. As her opponents taunted her with a song, Napoleon stormed out of the conference. If you thought that was the end of it, think again. Talk about trauma. Here's where it gets even, though. Hundreds of her supporters were left out in the cold, unable to participate in the caucus, according to Messier Henyard, who cried foul, accusing Harris of manipulating the process. She claimed that if they could have defeated her, they would have gone to the polls, but instead, she claimed the caucus was set up to sideline her. She went on to promise to accommodate all parties involved, saying the show will continue. Let's change the subject and discuss. When fans of Henyard stand by her and accuse the process of being unfair, the pushback paints a totally different picture. Some attendees characterized her behavior at the caucus as disrespectful and disorderly. One woman claimed that she arrived late and then became irascible because they were unable to board another TD. She even accused Henyard of attempting to control the situation by buzzing in seniors only for numerous buses to arrive late, leaving her supporters stranded outside.
Our security firm, we made sure they had wands, and we also told our board to come upstairs due to the fact they had several ways to exit out of the.
Adding to the tension, legal professionals voiced views that generally disagree with Henyard Harris' lawyer. Burton Odelson defended the caucus procedure as completely democratic and lawful, pointing out that it had been carried out in the same way for decades in the case of the missing Henyard claims. Though her supporters aren't supporting her, Henyard now faces the challenge of possibly running as a candidate to stay in the township supervisor race. One of her allies expressed optimism, pointing out that if voters decide to write her in, her name recognition could work in her favor. Down asserting that the caucus was not only unfair, but also purposefully planned to exclude her. According to Keith Price, one of her supporters, they not only blocked her, but also those who wanted her to remain in office. Some residents shared Price's annoyance, arguing that the decision to switch from a primary to a caucus was a deliberate attempt to exclude thousands of voters who would typically participate in township elections. One resident remarked, "Now it's a room of a few hundred." How is that democracy?
Election is not until 2025, yet Tiffany Henyard has officially decided she wants to stay as mayor despite the cloud of controversy surrounding her.
Her Henyard's legal team expressed displeasure with the abrupt application of the rules during the caucus for lawyer Max Solomon, who claimed that candidates were only made aware that a full slate was necessary to qualify on the day of the event. He said this was not customary and that it unfairly singled out Henyard, who had previously filed her application using a partial slate. Solomon stressed that the regulations seemed to be designed especially to disqualify Henyard, taking advantage of the fact that she did not have a professional assessor. However, Harris's camp refuted these claims, arguing that the regulations had been accessible beforehand for everyone to study.
It's the right way. Illegal.
The dispute has sparked more general worries about justice and openness in local governance. Statewide measures have been proposed by opponents to stop caucuses from being used as political instruments. A political expert with knowledge of the situation stressed that the problem goes beyond Henyard, emphasizing the necessity of making sure that small-town governance avoid turning into a power battle. The expert added that although legal caucuses frequently allow for manipulation, particularly in places where political rivalries are strongly ingrained, the ramifications of this ruling are anticipated to last well after the April election.
New at 6, embattled Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard is mounting a re-election bid. Henyard made the announcement in a post on her Facebook page.
The caucus scandal is only the beginning of Henyard's problems. During the past year, her leadership has been beset by controversy after controversy, and the headlines never stop coming. Let's start with her financial choices. There have been rumors of exorbitant spending on luxurious vacations, expensive meals, and even a poorly attended concert that cost over $85,000 in public funds, in addition to her well-known Amazon shopping spree, which saw her spend over $43,000 in a single day. Yes, $43,000, while her town's budget was in a deficit.
You're a clown. We will continue to speak out against wrongdoing. Why won't you step down?
Speaking of financial difficulties, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot looked into Dolan's assets, and the results were concerning. According to reports, the town's general fund balance report fell from over $5 million in 2022 to a deficit of more than $3.5 million. Henyard has dismissed the criticism, claiming she has done nothing wrong, even though the Life Flits analysis, which revealed millions by mid-2024, uncovered dubious purchases made with Village credit cards and raised severe issues about Henyard's financial management.
They lead without bias. At the conclusion of this investigation, I will provide an assessment of the findings and the recommendations.
Financial disputes, however, are only one aspect of the problem. Henyard's leadership style has also come under fire, with critics accusing her of being combative, dismissive, and then downright chaotic at village board meetings. Tensions have escalated as trustees openly challenge her authority. One trustee even compared her behavior to that of a bully, while another said it feels like we're in a dictatorship, not to mention her famous golden microphone, which she uses during meetings, a detail that only serves to further paint her as disconnected from her community. Henyard's controversial appointment of Ronald Burge as interim police chief sparked outrage because the adult and police department has been without a permanent chief for the majority of the year. Burge was deemed unqualified to carry out basic law enforcement duties by the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board, but his certification had lapsed, making him unable to make arrests or carry a firearm. Despite this, Henyard pushed forward with his appointment, sparking legal battles and further dividing the town's leadership.
A Cook County court has reversed some of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's decisions. At last night's village board meeting, Henyard announced a 30-day temporary appointment.
And reconsider if you believe that things couldn't get any worse. Henyard's landlord, who formerly thought of her as a friend, has filed an eviction lawsuit against her after she reportedly failed to pay rent for months. The complicated case, which has only added to the increasing list of controversies surrounding the embattled mayor, involves an eviction lawsuit alleging thousands of dollars in unpaid rent and accusing Henyard of changing the locks to keep her out.
Tiffany Henyard's landlord, and she says she came to this Thornton Township meeting Tuesday night hoping to get paid what she says she's owed.
However, here's the thing. In spite of all the scandals, court cases, and public outcry, Henyard is unwavering and has stated that she has no plans to resign. In fact, she is stepping up her efforts by declaring her intention to run for mayor of Dalton again. Yes, you heard correctly. In the midst of all the turmoil, she is preparing for a new campaign, telling her supporters to respect her name and show her support. What will happen to this so-called super mayor next? Will she be able to weather the storm and regain her positions of authority? Or will the growing scandal